Maelstrom. Noun. A violent whirlpool or a situation that pulls people into disorder. The scandal became a maelstrom of leaks, subpoenas, and midnight phone calls. Belabor. Verb. To argue or explain a point more than it needs and past the point of patience. Please do not belabor the typo, fix it, and move to the budget slide. Quiescent. Adjective. Quiet and inactive, not stirring for the moment. The volcano looked quiescent from the highway, though sensors still ticked higher each week. Panache. Noun. Stylish confidence that shows in how someone acts or dresses. She wore the thrift store coat with such panache that strangers asked where she bought it. Abscond. Verb. To leave secretly and quickly, often to avoid trouble or payment. The treasurer absconded with the petty cash and left a sticky note about spreadsheets. Halcyon. Adjective. Calm, happy, and peaceful, often looking back at an earlier time. They remembered a halcyon summer before the mill closed and the river ran quieter. Ribald. Adjective. Humor that is rude and often sexual in a playful way. The ribald toast startled the cousins, then even Grandma laughed behind her hand. Epigram. Noun. A short, clever statement, often one that stings. His favorite epigram warned that reform and revenge arrive in the same coat. Officious. Adjective. Eager to offer unwanted advice or meddling help. The officious neighbor lectured them on mulch while their gutters still overflowed. Xenophile. Noun. A person who is attracted to foreign people or cultures. A lifelong xenophile, she collected spices she could not yet pronounce and cooked them anyway. Retrograde. Adjective. Moving backward or worsening instead of improving. The policy felt retrograde after years of slow progress on parental leave. Cadge. Verb. To ask for or get something informal by scrounging rather than paying. He cadged cigarettes outside the venue until the bouncer pointed at the sign. Qualm. Noun. A feeling of doubt or unease about whether something is right. She boarded the plane with a qualm she could not name. Then turbulence proved it sensible. Obloquy. Noun. Strong public blame or verbal abuse aimed at someone. He faced obloquy online for a quote clipped without context, fair or not. Propitiate. Verb. To win a favorable mood from someone who could punish you. They brought pie to propitiate the landlord after the late rent and the noisy dog. Lambast. Verb. To criticize someone very harshly in speech or writing. Editorials lambasted the mayor, yet turnout at the hearing stayed embarrassingly small. Nexus. Noun. A central connection point where things link together. The harbor was the nexus of trade, fishing boats, ferries, and tourists sharing one narrow pier. Timorous. Adjective. Timid and easily frightened by risk. The timorous intern knocked twice before entering, though the door already stood open. Accretion. Noun. Growth by gradual layering or accumulation. An accretion of grime hid the mosaic until volunteers scrubbed with stiff brushes and patience. Remonstrate. Verb. To plead or protest firmly against something you think wrong. She remonstrated with her brother about driving tired, voice low so the kids would not wake. Jejune. Adjective. Naive, dry, or too simple for the topic. The essay felt jejune beside the primary sources, all summary and no tension. Simulacrum. Noun. A copy or likeness that stands in for something real. The theme park offered a simulacrum of the old square, clean bricks and piped birdsong. Undulate. Verb. To move in smooth waves like rising and falling water. Hills undulate toward the coast, green folds that hide farm lanes until you crest them. Vitiate. Verb. To spoil the quality or legal force of something. A missing signature could vitiate the contract, so they rescanned every page before filing. Broach. Verb. To raise a sensitive topic for the first time. She waited until dessert to broach the loan, forks pausing over the pie. Desultory. Adjective. Jumping from one thing to another without steady focus or plan. They made desultory conversation about sports until the real news landed. Cherry. Adjective. Cautious because you do not quite trust the situation. He grew chary of strangers offering help at the station after his bag was lifted once. Pyrrhic. Adjective. Won at such a cost that the victory hardly feels like success. The title felt Pyrrhic once two starters were injured and the coach lost trust before playoffs began. Recant. Verb. To take back a statement or belief publicly. Under oath he recanted his earlier claim, and the room exhaled as if one long valve had turned. Sacrosanct. Adjective. So protected by tradition or respect that people rarely challenge it. Sunday breakfast stayed sacrosanct, phones banned until the coffee pot emptied. Venal. Adjective. Open to bribery or corrupt for money rather than principle. The novel painted the judge as venal, pockets deep enough to sway any verdict. Yowl. Verb. To give a long, loud cry of pain, complaint, or mockery. The cat began to yowl at 3 a.m, demanding a door that would never open. Volition. Noun. The power of choosing and acting under your own will. He left of his own volition, not because HR escorted him to the curb. Requite. Verb. To return a feeling or action, especially to reply to kindness or harm. She tried to requite the favor with theater tickets, though he preferred silence. Abnegation. Noun. The act of denying yourself comforts or your own interests for a serious purpose. Years of abnegation had thinned his wardrobe to gray sweaters and one good coat. Egress. Noun. A way out, or the act of going out. A blocked egress turned a small kitchen fire into a front-page story about code violations. Fatuous. Adjective. Silly or foolish in a way that misses the obvious. His fatuous grin faded when the inspector listed every cracked joist in the basement. Gambit. Noun. A planned move meant to gain an advantage, often with some risk. Opening with a low bid was a gambit that forced rivals to show their numbers early. Inculcate. Verb. To fix an idea in someone through steady teaching or repetition. Parents inculcate manners by repetition, the same please and thank you until it sticks. Knack. Noun. A natural skill at a particular kind of task. She had a knack for reading tides, knowing when the flats were firm enough for a shortcut. Quotidian. Adjective. Ordinary and everyday rather than rare or exciting. The quotidian miracle was bread on the table, steam rising while the streetlight buzzed. Raconteur. Noun. A person who tells stories in an amusing, skilled way. At the reunion, the raconteur held the porch, turning a flat tire into an epic. Redound. Verb. To have an effect that returns on someone, often to their credit or harm. Her candor redounded to her credit when the committee compared the transcripts. Truculent. Adjective. Eager to argue or fight, showing a rough, defiant mood. His truculent reply to a simple question cost him the benefit of the doubt. Welter. Noun. A messy mixture of things in confused pile or turmoil. She waded through a welter of receipts, rubber bands, and coffee stains on audit day. Zephyr. Noun. A soft, gentle breeze. A zephyr lifted the curtains, cool against the heat that had pooled in the upstairs hall. Abridge. Verb. To shorten a text or experience while keeping the core meaning. The editor abridged the novel for radio, losing subplots but keeping the river chase. Peccadillo. Noun. A small minor fault that is more embarrassing than serious. Lateness was his peccadillo forgiven until the day the keynote started without him. That's everything for this session. If this helped you, subscribe for more. See you next time.